So this is a 92 series, and the coolant that's in it, we don't know what it is, but it is green, and usually it's not the green that goes in a 92 series. We have a bottle of Prestone that came with the bus when he bought it, and that is not an approved coolant for the 92 series because they have wet liners, and cavitation is a real serious issue with them, and with the O-rings in there that seal the liners, you have to use the proper coolant for a 92 series. So something that's approved for heavy duty diesel use. Usually you can tell if there's a picture of a semi truck on the bottle compared to a pickup truck. That's what you need. And like I said, it's usually a different color. So we're flushing the system with the green stuff. We just drained it all the way up to the front heater cores. This has the original system in. It's about 22 gallons that it's going to hold. Transmission cooler, we drained everything. We filled it with water. We're going to flush the system a couple of times, get it all out of there. We're also changing the transmission fluid because we had to drain it already to get that hose, that one hydraulic line replaced for it. Plus it's pretty nasty looking. It almost looks black. And we're going to go ahead and put Transcend in the V730, which is a synthetic oil for it, and or a TES 295 equivalent. And it's going to lower the operating temperature of the trans about 10 degrees, which is going to put less of a taxing issue on the cooling system of the bus, since that's what cools it, there. So the lower we can keep that trans, the better, smoother it's going to shift, the better it is. This is the first flush of the system. It's pretty nasty looking. This is from the heater cores up front, the cabin heat. This one came out nasty to begin with. We've flushed it 4 times now, and I keep getting that gritty, sandy stuff out of there. I'm going to recommend that he puts a coolant filter on it, just to filter the cooling system a little bit better, since he does not currently have one in his setup. I think it would be nice to have, because that's a lot of, it's all coming out of there. And this is the 4th flush. So color-wise, it looks real good, but those particles keep coming out. So when you start draining the cooling system on here, start with this closed. Otherwise, there's way too much water pressure will come out of there. There is a fitting on the bottom of the radiator inlet there that you take out. Be prepared, there'll be a big gush of fluid coming, and then you'll get about, I don't know, 8 or 10 gallons out, and then it'll start to slow down a little bit as you hear it starting to suck air. And put the plug back in. I'll give you time to drain whatever you're doing so it's not too heavy. And then after that, you can open up the filler, and that'll let the air behind it, and it'll gush out to the end. There's a couple on the block. There's a bleeder valve down there on the block. There's some on the bottom. There's one on the bottom of the feed line to the coolant line that comes up here and goes to the air compressor. And then on here, because it's got the automatic transmission, we've got a transmission cooler back there. You have to drain the bottom of that. This has the factory heater cores. So on the bottom corner of the factory heater core there's one there, and I got running out of a hose right now. It'll come out of there. And then in the dash, if you just open the bleeder valve, you have to be able to get to it, but there's a bleeder valve up there, a little screw, and then that'll drain out the driver's defroster there too. So and then the bottom of this pump, there's a plug on the bottom of the circulation pump there too. So all together, it's about 22 gallons that you'll get out of the system. And he went to the auto parts store to pick up the new coolant, the Transcend for the transmission. We had to replace a petcock. One of the ones on the bottom of the block, when I was draining it, I opened it and nothing was coming out of it. I ended up sticking a pick tool up in it. It was just completely filled with debris. That one up there is completely filled with debris. And then once I started picking at it and cleaning it out, I finally got water to come out of it, coolant to come out of it. I guess it's never been open, and that's another reason why I wanted to run a coolant filter, because of all that crap that was in there. It was enough to seal up a 1/4 inch hole completely solid. And I had to dig at it for a good 2-3 minutes with a pick, scraping shit. It was hard as a rock, and I finally made it through. So we backed it out and degreased it, cleaned it up pretty good, and then we're going to take it for a test drive to check for oil leaks and stuff. So we fixed several of them. Well, we hope we fixed several of them. It's a Detroit, so you never know, but yep, it looks good. So we changed the coolant, we changed the transmission fluid, changed the transmission filter. We're gonna put new fuel filters on it, but we got to get some fuel first, so we have some fuel to prime it. Flushed the cooling system multiple times. Got the correct coolant in it now, which is very important for a 92 series, so I'm happy for that. So we're gonna take a break and go for dinner.